Hey, everybody. Super excited for you to hear this great interview with my friend Harry. We talked about so many good things of stumbling blocks and overcoming certain things to get to where we need to be. And just you're going to love everything that he's doing now and the road that he has had to take to get there. But also just wanted to remind everybody, in less than 2 weeks, our 5-day amateur to expert LinkedIn intensive will begin April 25th to April 30th. There will be a link in the description to register. We're going to talk about optimizing your profile, building the right kind of network, messaging and closing more sales, content creation, and what you should be posting, but also the 20-minute routine, plus all of the new updates that have been going on with LinkedIn, all the new things that you can do, because the last time we did this was 8 months ago, and there's been a lot of changes. So look for the registration link in the description of this episode, and please enjoy this amazing interview with my good friend Harry. Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited for today's episode. As everyone knows, every Thursday is an interview episode. And I have a good friend of mine, Harry, here with me today. We connected via LinkedIn and shared some commonalities in our background stories and what we're doing with coaching and consulting. And obviously, he's got a very interesting story of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and the things that you have to learn through those processes to come out better at the end. And now he's using that experience to help other entrepreneurs become their very best. So with that being said, Harry, welcome to today's episode.
Thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate the opportunity.
So a lot to talk about in the time that we have today, but let's start off by you introducing yourself to the audience, those that are not familiar with you and what you do and how you help people, let them know. But the core thing that I also want you to talk about in your entrepreneurial journey, what do you feel was that catalytic moment for you that sent you down this entrepreneurial path that you've been on for the last number of years to get to where you are today?
Wow, that's a good one. First of all, my name is Harry Nouhan, and thank you very much for having me on today. I'm excited. I actually grew up in the restaurant business. My family owned a restaurant. It's a family restaurant, and it was a franchise. However, they were entrepreneurs, but I was an employee. And so I punched the clock. I worked my shift. In fact, they used to turn milk crates over so I'd be high enough to reach the grill when I was 7 years old, so I could flip the hamburgers when I was 7. So I got into, I stayed in that industry for 20 some years. And then I got introduced to the direct sales industry, the network marketing industry. And when I saw that, it was interesting because it was like franchising without all the overhead, because I was in on all the conversations about labor costs, food costs, brick and mortar, fixtures, and unemployment. And I got excited because it was an opportunity to get into a business for little amount of money and to grow wherever you can. The only problem is I didn't know how to sell. Didn't know how to sell, didn't know anything about entrepreneurship, and I struggled. I struggled for a couple of years. But the reason I pushed forward is because I knew that living paycheck to paycheck was not the answer for me. I was working 60 to 70 hours a week. I was making $17,000 a year back then in the 80s, and it was paycheck to paycheck. And when I saw people making that kind of money in a month that I was making in a year, and they weren't any more smarter than I was, they weren't more educated than I was, I got excited about my entrepreneurial journey, and that's when I went forward. But I also found out that skills equals income. The more skills you have, the more skills you know, the more income you make, and the more value you bring to the marketplace, the more the marketplace is going to pay you for that value. So I went on a mission to increase my skill level, and it wasn't overnight. It was getting around the right people, reading the right books. And one of the people I was blessed and fortunate enough to be around was Jim Rohn. I was able to work with Jim Rohn and Mark Hughes, Larry Thompson, and many other top people in the industry that took me from cook to coach. And through various, blessings that came aboard and came out, and the discipline that I was dealt with, and that I did, and that I learned, in 7 short years, I was in a position where I was earning 7 figures a year, and I was able to help other people make significant amounts of money. And it wasn't about me at that point. It was about how many people can I help? How many people can I share with this with? How many people can I grow? And for other reasons that weren't mine, that went away. When one door opens, another one closes. And unfortunately, that closed. And I found myself looking for the next big thing. And again, I went through a struggle. It was several years. And then I found an opportunity where I was in direct sales, but it wasn't network marketing. It was going door to door, selling cable TV. And it was a contractor. So I wasn't working for the company. Again, 1099. I've been a 1099 guy almost 40 years now. But it was that entrepreneurial mindset that in 3.5 years, I was able to recruit, train, manage, and develop the largest producing door-to-door sales team in the country. And it was amazing because we had corporate people coming to our interviews and our meetings trying to find out what we were doing to get all this business, because we just went from zero to hero in 100 days. We went from nobody to number 1 in the country. And again, I had my top 7 guys. You don't do it alone. It wasn't about me. It's getting good quality people, building relationships with people that you can help. And I had 7 guys making 100,000 a year going door to door selling cable. And it was just magical. And again, corporate America, you start making that kind of money, they start changing the rules on you. And they did. And so I found myself now walking away and said, you know what? I need to start building my own brand. This information has got to get out to people. And so the skills that I was blessed to be able to learn, now I'm sharing with as many people as I can.
I love that. I have a similar journey, had a brick and mortar business and, sold a business for $1 million and then opened up a new one that ended up losing millions and, getting into network marketing and doing really well. And then, understanding. And I think that the biggest thing for me was, I found there was a lot of smoke and mirrors and people were making it seem easier than it really was. And it was, the people that you see succeeding in network marketing that are, the top earners, they may paint a picture that it's been this glorious, free-flowing journey with a couple bumps in the road. It's more than just a couple bumps in the road. And I think for me, people ask me all the time, why did you start focusing more on building your personal brand and getting out of network marketing and then, starting and growing a company that you and your wife own? Why did you do that? Well, the whole truth of the matter is for, the 15 years prior to getting into network marketing, I was a business owner. I was my own boss. I never worked for anyone. And in the 4.5 years that I, built in network marketing, I felt like I was my own boss, but I started to realize that I was just a sales rep. I was the boss was the owners of the company. I was just making them money. And I think for me, the awakening moment was when my account in the company that I partnered with was frozen because someone had reported me for teaching people in the company that I was with how to use LinkedIn to grow their business the way that I was. And they weren't on my team. They weren't cross-line. They were on a different organization. I was not financially attached. And they asked to consult with me and they said, I'll pay you. And I said, okay. And more people asked to do that because I was getting people results based on the results I was getting for myself. And and granted, that was not the income that I was solely focusing on. I had multiple streams of income. Thank God I had my coaching practice and everything else. But it was a vulnerable feeling that I never wanted to feel again. And I realized at that point, Harry, that I was not a business owner. I was basically a 1099 employee. And And that's when I said to my wife, I said, listen, we gotta really go all in on ourselves and really start building these multiple streams. Because again, you hear the story of, what's your plan B? So there's so many people that come into network marketing and, they're an employee of another company and they're like, you got to grow your plan B. And then they say, you got to quit your plan A to do your plan B full time. But now you're back to a plan A again with no plan B. So you're in that same vulnerable position. So what did you learn? What was the biggest, I guess, learning lesson for you personally? Because again, you saw success in network marketing, in direct sales, and obviously now being your own business owner. With those lessons that you learned, whether it's compensation restructuring or the company closing down, which we can't control, what was the biggest lesson that you learned in those experiences that allowed you to succeed as a personal brand with your own business now?
That's an amazing story that you've got, and not many people can recover from that. For me, it distracted me for a couple of years. When first it exploded, you're making big money, and it imploded. And I was bitter and I was, resentful, and I was distracted until I finally just said, you know what, this problem is too big for me. I'm giving it away. So I gave it to God, and I just said, okay, let me do what I do best. But the thing that you said was really good is you treated it like a business. You already had the disciplines as a business owner. So that helped you and your wife, because you already knew how the struggle has to happen. You're right. They do put the big picture, the smoke in the mirrors and the nice stuff. And it is hard work. But a lot of people don't treat it like a business. They treat it like, a hobby. And for me, one of the things that one of my early mentors taught me, he said, when you make big money, society, whatever, will figure out a way to try to take everything that you ever earned away from you, but they can never take away what you learned. And so I went all in on my skills. I went all in on how good can I get. I went all in on the search for excellence, knowing that I'd never get to be excellent. There's always going to be somebody I can learn from. That's the search that I went on. So for me, it was, okay, while I'm here, while I'm under this roof, I'm president, founder, chairman of the board of my own business underneath this other company that's got all the rules and regulations that I've got to adhere to. So yeah, I'm my own boss, but they got rules. I went in, okay, the skills that I learned, I can apply. And that's what I did when I started going door to doors. I applied the skills that I learned from network marketing into a totally different business. So I would say the biggest lesson is focus on you. And I learned that from Jim Rohn. He said, you got to spend more time on yourself than you do on your job. Spend more time on yourself than you do on your business, because you're the number one asset.
And you're also the reason why, people say yes. And the one thing I will say is that I'm eternally grateful for the network marketing profession, because there's no way, shape, and form that I would be doing what I'm doing right now with my wife and the company that we're growing if I didn't go down the personal development journey that I went down, 9.5 years ago. There's no way I would have learned all those skills of really how to build your brand on social media and how to present yourself and how to get out of your own way and, thinking bigger and looking more within. Because again, the skills that I learned has allowed us to grow the incredible business that we now have outside of that. And it's not, I didn't, slam the door in network marketing's face. I still, help people in some way, shape, or form, whether it's with my words or programs. It's just a choice of mine to build our own company and our own business. I don't want to build someone else's anymore. And if someone else, disagrees and they want to continue to build someone else's business, that's fine. I guess I support that. Like, if that's filling your cup, that's great. It just doesn't fill my cup anymore. And it may come to a point where you do want to do something else. And again, it's part of the journey. So like you said, the skills that I did learn, I honed and were able to translate that into everything that I'm doing now. So in regards to entrepreneurship as a whole, my wife and I kind of classify network marketing as baby entrepreneurship. It's where, employee-minded people, which is the majority of network marketing, get their bachelor's and their master's all in one of how to be an entrepreneur. Because again, you're used to, like you said, clocking in, clocking out, working 9 to 5, having a set amount of money drop into your bank account every 2 weeks in that direct deposit. And the notion of, you are in control of whatever money you want to make. Like, that's just a very unforeseen concept for a lot of people. And it is baby entrepreneurship. But what would you say for the majority of the people in network marketing, as we know, they struggle. They may dabble, they may treat it as a hobby. And you and I know, when you treat something like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby, which is nothing. What would you say in the era that we're in right now, in the quote unquote great resignation, where so many people have flooded the online market and have joined network marketing in the last 24 months? What do you still feel is the number one problem, or I would say thorn, in those people's sides of why they're not seeing success as a majority of other people that may be experiencing that have been in the industry for years?
What a powerful question. And you're right. The last 24 months has been crazy for all of us, and it doesn't seem like it's letting up. When COVID happened, so many people started looking for a home-based business opportunity, and network marketing was the easiest one to get into because you can generally get into it for under $1,000. But to answer your question, the way I feel is it's not their fault. The people that fail and don't get ahead. At first, it's not their fault, but once they understand this, then it's all on them. But the entire public education system in our country is designed to produce employees. It started in the early 1900s, and it was designed to create employees for the Industrial Revolution, the auto manufacturing, and all the manufacturing that was going on for that 30, 40-year period. And it's even today, it doesn't teach entrepreneurship at all. You can get classes with accounting, and you can get classes with budgeting, but they don't teach entrepreneurship because they still want their employees. So I think the number one problem is most people don't know how to employ themselves. It takes discipline to know how to employ yourself. And that's where I struggled for the first couple of years, is I was used to punching a clock, and all of a sudden I have nobody accountability. I was accountable for myself, and I didn't know how to do that. So employing yourself, I think, is critical, or learning how to employ yourself and understanding that you have to employ yourself. You still got to punch the clock, but it's your own clock. You still have to set the time in your calendar. Okay, I've got to work this many hours a day. I've got to prospect this much a day. I've got to follow up this much a day. I've got to invite and do presentations. I've got to build my business. So it takes disciplines that most people don't understand. They just think that they're going to make their list of everybody they know. They're going to go to those people, and those people are going to be just as excited as they are. And that's just not the case. So you may get some of them, but then what do you do with them? They don't know what to do with them. They don't know how to build and teach and train and chase the business and tell, show, try, do, and show them how to grow their business, because the people they're talking to generally aren't entrepreneurs either. And they don't understand that. So I think that's the number one reason for me. What I see the hope is for the people that do make the big money, or people that do have an opportunity, it's what they become and what they do with that money. And I'm a firm believer of diversification. You mentioned it earlier, multiple streams of income. I think somebody that relies just on that one company to produce all their income, they're setting themselves up for a potential disaster like happened to me. I didn't diversify. I was totally reliant on that. And then when it was taken away, I'm like, okay, where's my income producing real estate? Where's my stock portfolio? It wasn't there, because I thought the money was going to keep coming in every single month. And I think understanding how to diversify and spread your hands out to protect yourself and your family, I think that's critical.
You said something about the Industrial Revolution, and what a lot of people don't know is Henry Ford is the originator of the 9 to 5. He was looking to create a system where he could churn out more vehicles in a streamlined way. So he created this 9 to 5 work environment that created the assembly line, which is
created the whole middle class.
Yeah. And that's how he was able to grow his empire. And other organizations and companies saw that, and they're like, all right, well, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's just adapt whatever he's doing, because it seems to be working. He's a billionaire now. And the one thing that I do always tell people is the entrepreneurial mindset and skill set is completely different than the employee mindset and skill set. And, making that shift over. And what I would like to see in entrepreneurship as a whole, not just network marketing, is more business education. I would love to see, especially network marketing companies, really digging in and teaching people real business ownership skills. What it means, starting a 1099, starting an LLC or an S corp. Do you need to diversify and hire team? How do you set money aside for tax payments and quarter? Like, there's a lot of things that people don't know about running a business that they don't teach you. They just, they send you all these weekly checks and deposits, and at the end of the year you make X amount of money, and then your accountant says, oh, you still owe X amount of dollars, and you're like, what? And because when you're a 1099, it's different than when you own your own business. So I would like to see more business education. And again, I'm just a firm believer. I don't think it's ever going to happen, because at the end of the day, the network marketing company's main objective is to get products off of their shelves. And the way that they do that is having a sales force out there pushing their products. Yes, they want people to make money, and that's why they have all these compensation bonuses. But I'm also a firm believer in everything that you said about, business diversification. People, if you rely on that one stream of income, you're putting yourself into the same position that you were when you first said yes to that opportunity. So what would you say is the biggest change or diversification within the network marketing and direct sales industry that you would like to see implemented in the next, few years, few months, that would give people a greater opportunity to succeed? Because no matter how we break it down, you see the people at the top, no matter how people try to spin it or whatever it is, depending upon where you are in the business and how many years, it really does correlate to the amount of money you may or may not be making. So that newer person, what would you like to see the industry do for those newer people coming in to really not, you can't guarantee anything, but set them up for a greater opportunity and chance of succeeding as opposed to what's going on right now?
That's an interesting question, Scott, because I've been prospecting companies and high-level distributors to work and coach and train. And some of the pushback I've been getting, not all of them, but some of them is we do all our own in-house training and we'll never bring in an outside trainer. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's just a strange way to think. Because if you don't want to bring in an outside trainer that's been through the trenches, that's been through the horrors, that's been through the successes, that's learned from the school of hard knocks, that doesn't seem to be a good position to be in. I think, there's Jim Rohn actually connected with one of the companies earlier, and he brought in business philosophy that changed a lot of people's lives. And, he ended up working with that company for 20 plus years. And, here's a guy that, he's no longer with us, obviously, but he built a massive empire, changing so many people's lives. I mean, he trained Tony Robbins, he trained Les Brown, Darren Hardy. These are guys that he's trained that have impacted millions and millions of people globally. So why would a company not want to bring in an outside trainer to instruct and teach their people? Okay, yeah, you're making money, but let's teach you what to do smart things with that money. You don't have to do it, but let's give you some ideas of diversification. Let's give you some ideas of tax protection, because there's as there's a lot of high income producing people that have problems with the IRS because they didn't set that money aside. And for me, thank God it was different, because I made big money, but I did set it aside. So when it collapsed, I was still protected with what I didn't spend it all. In other words, I was able to take care of my obligations, and then I started from broke again. So what we don't want to happen is you spend all your money and something happens to that income, and now you owe the IRS more than what you thought. So I think bringing in outside trainers like yourself, like your wife, like me, like other trainers that have been through it, that can coach their people on this company's better than that company, but just generic training on what to do with their success and how to be the most successful.
Could not agree more. And like you, I kind of gave up on it because I was shut down by too many companies where I'm like, you know what, if you're teaching people to be open-minded, but you're closed-minded, you know, behind closed doors, I said, I just can't resonate with that. It's why companies bring in external speakers is because you can't expect the people that you have to be the best at what they do. It's you bring in the best outside to impact the people on the inside. It's just, that's a known fact. That's how it goes. So Harry, as we wind down, before I get to my final question, if people are, you know, within the profession, you know, whether it is entrepreneurship, network marketing, direct sales, or just general business, are looking to find out more about, you know, how you help people, what you do, and how you best can serve them, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Oh, thank you very much. You can send me an email. My email address is Harry Nouhan, Nouhan @gmail.com. Harry Nouhan @gmail.com. And I also have a private Facebook group. It's generic content strictly for the network marketing industry. And it's MLM Success Academy, MLM Success Academy. And you're more than welcome to, it's private, it's invitation only, but I'm inviting all your listeners. They're more than welcome to pull it up, ask for access, and I'll give them access. As long as they're in the network marketing industry, we protect the content in there so that there's no stealing, no cross-line sponsoring or trying to take anybody. So it's a pretty awesome group with good content. So those are the two ways: Harry Nouhan @gmail.com and MLM Success Academy on Facebook.
Awesome. And for the listeners, all that information will be listed in the description of the episode. So you're not going to have to go too far. You can just look at the description of the episode, click and either email Harry or join that group, which I highly suggest to do. So Harry, final question before we sign off. What does success truly mean to you?
Wow. You know, as I get older, it changed for me. And for me now, success is if I can help enough people get what they want. It's a Zig Ziglar phrase. It's it's patented. And I truly believe it. I live by it. If I can help enough people get what they want, I'll automatically get what I want. And at this level of my life, or this stage of my life, it's about giving back. You know, Dean Graziosi made a comment. He said, the richest place in the world is the cemetery, because people die with all their knowledge and information that they never passed on. And so I believe it's our obligation, and I got a feeling you feel the same way, to pass on as much of this knowledge as we possibly can. And for people that want to learn, I think everybody needs it, but people that want to learn and want to improve their skills, there's no better place.
Well, I completely agree. And, you know, it's one of those things. It's, you know, I go back to B&I, givers gain. You got to give in order to get. It's how it goes. And you just want to leave people better. So Harry, just wanted to thank you again for being on the podcast today. Loved everything that you shared, the vulnerability, the transparency, but also the raw and realness of your story, but also what's going on. And I know it's going to help so many people that listen to this. So thank you so much again for being here today.
And you're welcome. And thank you for the opportunity to share. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So everyone, check out the description of the episode to get in touch with Harry. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Please enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scotaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you everyone for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.